Yes? What do you want? Oh. You alright? Well, I'm not really sure my mic is going to be working. Tested it and didn't record any audio last time when I had a go at the camera. But we are out for the very first time. Boris Johnson has eased lockdown slightly, which now allows us to be able to have a little leisurely ride, as long as we're maintaining our social distancing and everything. It's all good. So I'm just going out for a casual, slow-paced ride just to get used to everything, because it's really been since January, early February, the last time I was properly riding the bike. So it's been a few months now that I haven't ridden properly, so we're all going to be a little bit rusty. Those who have obeyed lockdown and kept their bikes locked up in the garage while we've had a strict lockdown. They were talking yesterday about the R number, which is like the infection rate number, was actually headed slightly upwards again, but they're wondering if that's because of like nursing homes and stuff like that. So we'll have to see over the next few days, next week, what happens to that number, because if it ends up still heading up, then we're going to go down into severe lockdown and we will not be able to be out on a leisurely ride on our motorcycles again, and we'll be nearly back to square one again, where they'll have to tighten things up, which will not be good. So people, if you're wanting to ride your motorbike, don't go out in social groups, don't meet together in large numbers, just go out solo ride. And you know, if you meet one of your mates on the way and you're just riding with them, like they're in front of you, behind you, and then they peel off and go home their own separate ways without you actually being in close contact with each other, then that's all good. But otherwise, just solo rides at the moment, boys. So, what has been happening to me during lockdown? Well, I've been doing some maintenance on the bike. I had the back wheel brake all seized up because it'd literally been just left sat in the garage. So I stripped the caliper, new pads, and also took the opportunity while in lockdown and I'm not riding anywhere to strip the rear hub and re-grease everything in there, because it was bone dry and I couldn't, because I've got like a single swing arm. You adjust the chain by this turny bit at the back, technical term there, and it was getting incredibly stiff to turn, to try and tighten or loosen the chain up, to get my chain adjusted right. So yeah, I took it all apart, checked the bearings, given it all a good clean out, get all the muck and grit out, and check to make sure the bearings are moving nice and freely, that they're not loose, they're not feeling grinding or anything like that, that all the seals around the bearings are good, and pack it full of CV grease and put it all together, and Bob's your uncle. Back in the game again. So yeah, we're all enjoying a little leisurely ride out, just casual. Not going to open it up and go silly or anything like that today. Let's just keep everything out for a nice ride. Still got your indicator on, mate. Are you alright?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do what?
Look, that like a hot bit with the train on it. They've opened it up.
They've done it all up,
Yeah.
but it's closed at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, my wrist is hurting a bit. Not used to riding. Do what?
There's a ticket board coming round.
Oh yeah, well I'm going out anyway. I'm only coming in to just pop in and have a look. I'm not going to park up. The old bounty hunters are not on lockdown then, are they? The car park bounty hunters. Anyway, at the very beginning of this lockdown, before the lockdowns actually started, my son had been coughing away. So at the very start of everything, and everything was appearing on news, and it was talking about Wuhan and about this COVID business, and you know, the government's got it under control. You know, we're in this containment phase and all this. My son was coughing away like a right good 'un. And I kept joking to him, like, stop it, COVID boy, at him. And when lockdown began, about a week later, I started the old irritating coughing a lot. And my temperature one evening when I came to sat down after work, and that shot up, and I felt a bit unwell. And my temperature shot up to about 39 degrees, just over, and some days. And it didn't come down for over a week. For over a week I was high temperature fever and coughing. So I didn't get tested because they're only testing NHS staff, and even at that they weren't testing all NHS staff, because my wife works at, for the hospital in Colchester, and she had to isolate because I then had symptoms. She had to isolate for 2 weeks, and everyone at her work was like, you know, you're going to need to get tested and everything like this, so, you know, we know whether you've got it or not, and that, so you can come back to work. But there was no tests available, even though the government kept going on the news like, oh, there's plenty of tests available like this, you know, there's nothing wrong with getting people tested and all this, blah blah blah. When there was, because my wife didn't get tested, and that, and even the people at the hospital saying I should have got tested as well to make sure, you know, if I've got it, then yes, she needs to isolate. If I haven't got it and it's something else, then she doesn't need to isolate and she can come back to work. So yeah, we didn't get tested, but just this last week I ended up getting a letter through the post that I'd been randomly selected, our address had been randomly selected to trial some of these antibody tests that they're doing, which involves like a pinprick on your finger to draw a little bit of blood, and then you use this little pipette thing to put it onto this test device. I'll show you a picture of it up. And it basically then shows a control line and then a secondary line, and sometimes that's like really faint, but if it comes out even very faint, it's a positive test. If there's nothing there whatsoever, then it's negative and it can't find any antibodies for COVID. But that does not mean that you have not had it, even though it comes out negative. Well, did my little test thing and it came out positive, but they say these tests that they are testing are not 100% accurate, so it could come out as a positive even though it's a negative, and it could come out as a negative even though it's a positive, if you get what I'm meaning. It sounds just as confusing as what the government's advice for a lockdown is, isn't it? You can go out if you need to go out, but you need to stay at home. And if you're staying at home and feel the urge that you need to go out, only go out if you need to go out, but otherwise you need to stay at home. And it's like, what do you make from that? So everyone was a little bit confused by lockdown instructions. And people are still confused about even lifting things, because even the biking community was like, are we allowed out on our bikes? Are we really allowed out? But motoring organisations such as the AA and stuff like that have checked with government, and motorcycle insurance companies have checked with the government, and it is all legal. We are allowed to go out for a leisurely ride, but as long as we're keeping our social distance, what I said before. So yeah, that's what's been doddling on with my life in this lockdown. Not many videos, and a little bit of maintenance, and catching a little bit of the old COVID. All those people though that have suffered from it really bad. I've got a friend who who suffered really badly from it, and couldn't get out of bed because he was finding it difficult breathing, but he never went on to hospital, and he's never actually got tested. One of those figures that will never get known unless, you know, we do the antibody tests, everyone does it, and we find out who has had it, who has got antibodies to this dreaded COVID. One thing I was always having fear on, pity on, is some of these developing countries that have been hard hit with war, like Yemen and places like that, that have got no kind of health system like ours, and how are they managing to self-isolate? How are they managing to crack down on this disease? Just hope they are. Just hope they're keeping away from it. Right, let's go. And I'll see you in the next vlog. I think I'll log this one off because otherwise it'll get too long and boring. And you don't like boring videos, do you? Especially mine. That's why I haven't got many subscribers. So anyway, see you guys in the next one, and take care. Remember to keep following the government guidance and social distance, and we'll probably be doing it for a few years, it seems, until it all blows away.